Alright, so here's the thing. Every single breakdown video right now is Vice City this, Vice City that. And don't get me wrong, Vice City looks absolutely insane. But while everyone's been busy zooming into neon signs and counting skyscrapers, there's this whole other region sitting right at the bottom of the map that nobody's talking about properly. And the more I went through these official screenshots, the more I realized the Leonida Keys might genuinely be the most interesting part of this entire game. Not the flashiest, not the most obvious, but the most interesting. And I'm going to show you exactly why. So let's just start here. Look at this shot. The water is this ridiculous shade of turquoise. You've got these long highway bridges just stretching out over the ocean until they disappear. There are small islands scattered everywhere. And it looks nothing like anything else in this game. Like genuinely nothing. Vice City is Miami. The Grass Rivers is swamp. But this looks like someone just dropped a Caribbean island chain into the middle of a GTA game and said, yeah, that works. And the crazy part is Rockstar barely talks about it. Like they've shown it. It's in the screenshots. The postcard's right there on the website. But the detail buried inside it, that's what nobody's actually reading. So let's start with something that hit me immediately when I really looked at this region. That bridge. You see in the screenshots and the first trailer, and it looks like a regular bridge, right? Just connecting the islands. But look closer. There's an old broken section running alongside it. And that is not a mistake. That is a direct recreation of the 7-mile bridge in the real Florida Keys. Because in real life, there are actually two bridges sitting there side by side. The original one from 1912, which is now crumbling and broken and abandoned. And the new one built in 1982. And what do locals do with the old broken one? They fish off it. They walk it. It's just sitting there as this piece of history that nobody tore down. And Rockstar built both of them. They put both bridges in there. The new one for driving. The old one just existing alongside it. That is the level of detail we're dealing with, and most people completely walk past it. Now here's where it gets really interesting to me. Because there's this blimp, and I know that sounds weird, but stick with me. In Trailer 1, there's a surveillance blimp floating over the Keys. And that is based on something completely real. In actual Florida, the U.S. Customs Service runs what they call a Fat Albert. It's a tethered surveillance blimp floating over the Keys specifically to monitor boat traffic coming in from international waters. Drug smuggling, human trafficking, all of it. That blimp in real life is watching every boat that passes through. And Rockstar put in the game, which means that blimp in GTA 6 isn't just decoration. That is Rockstar telling you what this region is about underneath the pretty water and the palm trees. The Keys look like paradise on the surface, but they're a corridor. Everything illegal coming into Leonida from the ocean passes through here. And that surveillance blimp is basically Rockstar drawing you a map of the whole criminal ecosystem without saying a single word about it. And then there's Jason. Because here's something I don't think people have fully connected yet. Jason doesn't just happen to start his story near the Keys. His entire background before the events of the game is smuggling. Drug running out of the Keys, specifically. The isolated islands, the proximity to international waters, the boats everywhere. That's not a coincidence. That's his whole origin. He knows this region better than anyone. Which means when the story eventually brings you back here, and it will, you're not a tourist. You're coming back to somewhere Jason built his life. And that changes how the whole region feels when you're playing through it. It's personal. There's history here. And I think a lot of people are going to feel that when they actually play it and maybe not even know why. So now let me talk about what's actually confirmed here, because there's more than you'd think. You've got coral reef diving confirmed from the screenshots. Actual underwater exploration with sea turtles and marine life visible. You've got saltwater fishing, which is completely different from the freshwater stuff in the Grass Rivers. Different fish, different equipment, different spots. You've got the old bridge sections confirmed for fishing specifically, which mirrors exactly what locals do in the real Florida Keys. And then you've got boat heists. Because from what Rockstar's shown us, there are luxury yachts out here. And we already know from the trailers that there are military-style operations happening in the water around this region. Put those two things together, and you've got what looks like a whole category of missions built specifically around hitting targets on the water. that doesn't exist in any other GTA game at this scale. But here's the thing that I keep coming back to with the Keys, and this is kind of my whole point with this region. Every other area in Leonida has one vibe, right? Vice City is loud. The Grass Rivers is dangerous and wild. But the Keys are doing two things at once. On the surface, it's a vacation. Casual dress code. Rockstar literally wrote that in their official description. Bicycles and scooters. Dive bars called the Rusty Anchor. People just chilling. And underneath that, it's the most strategically important criminal location in the entire state. Everything moves through here. Drugs, weapons, people. The blimps watching. The smugglers are running. Jason grew up right in the middle of all of it. That tension between what the Keys look like and what the Keys actually are, that's the most GTA thing in this entire game. And I genuinely think it's going to produce some of the most memorable missions Rockstar has ever made. There's one more detail I haven't mentioned yet, and it's the one that made me actually stop scrolling when I first saw it. In one of the screenshots, Brian Heater, the smuggler character, he's standing in a hangar. And on the floor underneath him, there is what looks like a hand-drawn map. And if you zoom in on that map, it appears to show a layout of the Keys, which means Brian Heater, the old-school smuggler who's been running contraband through waterways for decades, has a hand-drawn map of the island chain on his floor. That is a story detail hiding inside a screenshot that most people haven't noticed. And that one image tells you more about what Rockstar's building out here than any official description they've written. So yeah, everyone's watching Vice City, and they should be, but don't sleep on the Keys. Because from where I'm standing, this is where some of the best stuff in this entire game is going to happen. Next video, I'm going deep on Port Gellhorn, because that rundown resort town with the biker gang running everything is genuinely one of the most underrated parts of this whole map. And there's a racetrack in there inspired by a real location that changes everything about what I think this region is going to play like. Subscribe if you want to see that one, and I'll catch you in the next one.